Hello everyone, my name is Qvortrup and I'm author of the book Democracy on Demand. Democracy on Demand is a book with a relatively simple idea. The idea is that people should be allowed to have democracy when they want to. It is government by the people after all, so why shouldn't we be allowed to decide when we want to have our say? At the moment we live in a kind of package deal society, at least democratically speaking. In other parts of society, we are individualized consumers. We can watch the kind of films we want on the television. We can have this kind of songs we want on our playlists. When it comes to politics, we have to choose a party that we often disagree with. On average, people only agree with 70% of all the policies that their party stands for. And that's what this book is all about. This book offers an alternative, and it shows with examples from around the world how it can work. It can work through referendums, through so-called citizens' budgets or participatory budgets, through citizens' juries. In other words, it can work like it does in Switzerland and Uruguay and a number of other places, in a way where people can initiate legislation. People can propose legislation. They don't have to wait for governments to propose that. In Switzerland, when there was a pandemic in the about 150 years ago, the people introduced this particular mechanism because they knew that the politicians weren't always to be trusted. So maybe we can do that today as well. In Scotland, there is currently a great debate as to whether there should be another referendum on independence. But a lot of people who voted for the SNP aren't in favour of independence. Likewise, a number of people who voted for parties who are opposed to independence might be in favour of Scotland as an independent country. That can be solved through democracy on demand, by allowing people to propose laws, by allowing people to decide when they want to have a say, by allowing people to gather signatures, and if they've gathered enough signatures, then there can be a vote on the issue. Now, of course, some people will say that can be abused, that we can have populism and polarization. We also know from a number of cases that when you have citizens' juries that decide the question beforehand, then we depolarize the debate. In fact, having referendums and initiatives and direct democracy, in other words, democracy on demand, we can have a grown-up and sensible debate, not a party political debate, but a debate that focuses on policies rather than politics. In other words, we will have a situation where we can solve the problem rather than win the argument. For, as the book concludes, when you give responsibility to people, they become responsible. If you take responsibility away from people, they become irresponsible. The best way to teach anybody democracy is to allow them to practice it. Thank you very much for listening.